In 2025, the Alliance will travel to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and I want to highlight where we will be staying. So for the first part of the trip, we will be staying at the Grand Fiesta Americana. The Grand Fiesta Americana is a beachfront property nestled in the mountains of Cabo San Lucas. This all-inclusive resort has so much for us to do. You can spend your day swimming in one of their many pools, or why don't you check out their brand new spa? Try one of their 7 or more restaurants. Grab ice cream with your friends. This property is a short car distance to downtown Cabo where all the fun happens. Is there an extension in Cabo? Of course there's an extension. The Alliance wouldn't do it any other way. So, for you extension earners, you will be traveling to Viceroy Resort and Spa. This location is located right outside of San Jose, a very unique and authentic part of Mexico. It has the look and feel of a spaceship that landed on the edge of the Sea of Cortez and decided to turn itself into a hotel. Boasting 4 pools, an art gallery, kids club, fitness center, boutique, and 5 fantastic restaurants. If you have traveled with the Alliance before, you know that we do everything 5-star, first class, all the way. If this is your first trip with us, you're in for a treat. Come join us in Cabo.
It's up to you to take ownership of that education. It's up to you to take ownership of that knowledge and to take ownership of your future.
Not only was I lost in my faith, but I was lost from my family. I was the prodigal son, and Andy and Jane took me back.
The system we have in place is bulletproof.
The biggest thing I would tell someone who's just getting started with us is make sure you attend all the meetings.
National Boot Camp, baby. Military-themed training with breakouts where everybody got to pick exactly what they wanted to be trained on. Plugged into the right breakouts, the carriers from all over the country came in, met with our producers to come up with product design, lead creation, anything you had to do to make it happen. This boot camp did it. Now we're ready to attack our war on poverty. Freedom, baby, coming our way. Imagine stepping into a world where every moment feels like a scene from a movie. Crystal clear water, exotic adventures, luxury at every turn. This is the amazing Island, and it's an experience like no other. We started off in Phuket, staying at this place called Sai Laguna Phuket. It's like stepping into paradise right on the beach. The beach club vibes insane. Sand between your toes, great food, great music blasting. And let me tell you, not far away is the PP Islands. Felt like a postcard. How about this? Then a private lunch on Nakanoi Island. They call it Bamboo Island, I think. Canoeing, these things called the Viking Caves. These vast islands pop out by the water, and you see these caves so beautiful. James Bond Island, yeah, that's right, the classic movie, James Bond, that island, it comes up like that, and you can't even believe you're looking at it. Yeah. What's next? Elephant Sanctuary. Bathing gentle giants. Can you imagine those creatures, you bathing them and kissing them? No, did I tell you I got kissed by an elephant? Chiang Mai. We stayed at the luxurious Anatara, where it's all about the cultural experience. We did shopping at the markets, the tuk-tuk tours, exploring temples, blessings from monks. Expands your mind. The bazaars, the night bazaars, it's crazy. food, the people, the art, the trinkets, the design, the great paintings. So, if you're thinking about earning this dream trip, stop thinking, start doing. This is your chance to experience the magic of the amazing Thailand. Believe me, it's a journey you'll never forget. Let's do it together. Get busy, get it done, earn less than a Thailand. Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Activity Call Live. Now, let's hear it for our special guest host, Andy Riddle.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Alliance. Thank you, Andy and Jane, for trusting me to do the call today. It's always an honor to be asked to do the activity call, and I always appreciate it. So, all right, guys. Well, we're going to get started. This week we're going to do some recruiting questions and answering them, and kind of what we do and how to build a big business in the Alliance system, and really just take everything to the next level for you. Tia sent over some questions that people have asked, but if you have other questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat and she will send them over to me. I'm going to try to run through as many of these as I can today, and really just give you an idea of what we do to help get through, to help you build a big business. A lot of stuff with the Alliance, when I saw this, gosh, I've been with Andy and Jane now for 17 years. But a lot hit me when I went to our national convention back in 2008 is really when things changed for me. That was my second conference I'd ever been to. I had won a dinner the night before to go out and be with some of the leaders of the Alliance the night before and have dinner with them. Fitzgerald was always one of the guys I looked up to, and he was one of the guys at the dinner. So I was like, I have to win this contest so I can have the dinner with him. I had a list of questions all prepared for him to start firing at him and get all the answers that he was going to tell me. And I just remember from that conversation, and as annoying as I probably was to Fitz with asking all those questions that night, I remember him looking at Andy and being like, "Hey, you okay if I just fire back at this guy and tell him like what to do?" kind of stuff. I don't remember his exact words, but it was like, "This is about to get real. Like, I'm about to get real with him." And so kind of what I want to do today is kind of get real with you guys. With the questions that you're asking and the questions you do, because I feel like a lot of these questions were what I was asking Fitz that night. And what Fitz told me that day was, he's like, "When are you going to stop playing around with this? When are you going to start really applying yourself and going full tilt to what you're wanting to accomplish?" Because at the time I was talking to probably 2-3 people a week, bringing them to the opportunity meeting that we had every week here in Jacksonville. Thought I was growing a business, thought I was going to be huge with the Alliance, but I was talking to 2 or 3 people a week, what we call showing the plan. And I just remember him getting real with me and being like, "If you don't take this serious, it's just going to be a hobby. You're basically trying to get lucky to build a big business, and this isn't luck. It's activity and doing it." And for some of you guys that have businesses and started bringing on people and have a business size that you're trying to get it's when you have a new agent and they make 20 dials. It's kind of like you're not going to be successful doing it. It's if you don't have 20 plus appointments, this business is hard. If you're running over 20 appointments, it's a lot easier. It runs a lot smoother. I remember it was years ago. We went with Andy to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we did that Richard Petty driving school. And it was the first time I've ever been in like a race car. And so I am a professionally trained NASCAR driver, just so you guys know. But we're at the Richard Petty driving school. And the first thing they do is they have you ride in the car with a professional driver. And I remember the guys flying around the track, and I'm in the passenger seat, and I'm like, "Holy crap, can I even drive one of these things?" Because it was so fast, so crazy. And then I got behind the wheel of the car, and when you start it up, it's like shaking like crazy, and it's it feels like it's going to fall apart. It feels like the most piece of crap car that you're ever going to be driving. And you start going down the pit lane and it's still shaking like crazy. And you're like, how am I going to control this car going 200 miles an hour at a racetrack? You know, it's like absolutely just the worst shaking in a car that I've ever experienced. It's like, and you're driving, it's like, and I'm about to go 200 miles an hour in this car that feels like it's going to fall apart. Once you accelerate and you get up to like 100 miles an hour, the car just completely feels like it's on rails. It's like the smoothest thing that, it just turns, it smooths out. There's no more shaking. There's no more vibrations. And it's a lot like this business. When you start putting in the activity on the sales side and the recruiting side, it smooths out. But when you're just doing these onesie twosies and dipping your toe in the pool and really not putting effort in to do it. And I remember when I was talking to Fitz that night, he basically told me, go for it. If you're going to do this and you want to build a big business, go all in, go all after it. And really put in some numbers and start really recruiting. And it's a lot what we teach a salesperson. You know, if you have a full-time salesperson that wants to do this, wants to put in big numbers and wants to make it, you're not going to do it off 5 appointments a week. You know, when you have 5 appointments a week and you get a no-show, I mean, you're freaking out because one of your clients wasn't there. But when you have 25 appointments in a week, you're glad they did no-show you because you're back on schedule. It's all the mindset of what you're doing. And the same thing with recruiting. You have to put the numbers in if you're going to have a huge business. Instead of it's almost like playing the lottery if you're just putting 1s or 2s in every single week and not really being aggressive doing it. And it's giving yourself no option outside of it. I remember after having that dinner with Fitz and going back and coming up with a game plan of what I really wanted to do and what I wanted to build a business and what it was going to take. And I remember I went to Tampa. I was spending money to drive 3.5 hours every single week down to Tampa, Florida to build. That's where I first was going to start building my business. And I was going to start talking and doing interviews every single week. And I was doing 70 interviews a week, every single week in Tampa. And my philosophy was I was going to interview 70 people, invite them back next week to our sales meeting where I was going to train them on how to get started with some of these questions are in there. And for 6 consecutive weeks, I had 0 people come back. So how good I was talking to 70 a week and not one would come back and attend my meeting or my sales meeting or my training. But I remember telling Andy when I decided to do it, he's like, you need to commit to 120 days. Don't do it if you're not going to commit to 120 days. You need to put the effort in. You need to put the numbers in. You need to put the numbers on your side for 120 days. And I remember driving back just about every single week being like, why am I doing this? Why am I spending my time, my money doing this? But on week 7, I had 6 people come back to that meeting to where we started our business down there. And off those 6 people, what the amount of money that came from those 6 is amazing in this business. And it changed everything. It changed, but it was being committed to putting in numbers to do so. So I'm going to answer these questions and give you guys some perspective on what I think it is. But more than anything, it's really just applying yourself and going towards something. It's the growth you're going to get from just going after something and not having excuses and not just doing these onesies, twosies, and really applying yourself and talking to a mass of people to bring in your business and putting the numbers on your side to succeed. Success comes. It's just continuing to do it. And Andy's leadership to always show me how he's done that, and Fitz always helping out with helping us change is. I think back that it was 7 tough weeks of doubt, failure, and then it's funny 17 years later without those 7 tough weeks to get traction in my business. It's those 7 weeks have changed my life forever. And it's like it's this very small period of time in your life that it was hard, and those 7 weeks had changed it tremendously. To this day, I still have things that's like without those 7 weeks, I wouldn't. What my life would be completely different. And it's applying yourself to really push through that and do things. So we'll hit these questions, but I want you guys to think it's you need to apply yourself. You need to go in there and put yourself in a situation to where you're actually putting the numbers on your side and understanding to build a big business. It takes effort. It's going to take failure. It's going to take rejection. It's going to take a lot of stuff that is uncomfortable, but it is so worth it. It is, I mean, when I stand here and say 7 weeks of tough conversations, feeling like a failure, to do it all over again, to go to another level, I'd be like, I'm in. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. But when you do it for the first time, it's scary. And that's the cool thing with the Alliance system. You have support systems. You have people that help you through these things. So we'll get into these questions and start knocking them out. But excuse me. The first one here is, what is the best way to approach someone who's never considered a career in life insurance? So the best way to approach someone is talk to them. I've always been told in this business, it's you have to share the opportunity and let them decide. So the more times you share the opportunity, and really when I went to Tampa 17 years ago and started talking to people, I wasn't trying to convince anyone to come get in insurance and do anything, but I approached a lot of people and talked to a lot of people. I let them make the decision, but I approached them to do it. And the best way to approach someone is just talking about what you do. Now, there's a bunch of good books out there. The more enthusiastic you are about what you do, the better shot is that they're gonna want to get in business and do this business. Because if I think back to what an insurance agent was to me before I got in insurance, I'm thinking of the old guy carrying a briefcase walking down the street, and that's not real attractive to me as a business model that I wanted to get into. But when I'm excited about what I'm doing and the opportunity and what I can do to change my family's life and trajectory. I remember when I was in the Japanese steakhouse and I recruited my good buddy Chris Long, just sitting at a table. He used to tell the stories like, it wasn't what I said about the insurance industry or what I did. It was my excitement of that part-time job I had that attracted him. Because at the time when I met him, I was part-time with the Alliance and I had my full-time job at Merrill Lynch. And he's like, it's crazy. He was so excited about the part-time thing. That's why I was excited to find out what it was. It's the excitement. It's not what you say. It's the ability that you're able to transfer your excitement about what you're doing and where you're going with it that will attract people into the business and attract people to do things, because they'll be like, he's going somewhere. The excitement is there. So knowing how to be the excitement and talk positive about what you do, it makes me want to grab a book off my shelf, but it'll take me I think I know where it's at, but it'll take me a minute to find it, but I'm not going to do that. But there's a book called Skill with People, and it's really thin. It's a really thin book, but in there, it talks about having excitement about what you do, and it's actually with insurance. It says, I think it says something like, do you approach people and say, oh, I'm just an insurance peddler? And talk very negative about or sound negative about what you do, or it's like, yeah, I work for the greatest insurance company that there is that's ever been out there, the Alliance. It's how are you changing the way that you speak to do things to get people excited or approach someone. The better you are at talking positive and having that excitement, the easier it's going to be to approach someone about a career in insurance. And again, very rarely is it what you're saying. Very rarely is it, they have a cool comp program where you can build your own business. You can make a lot of money. It's the excitement that you pass to them. That's what's going to get there. So it's understanding that the excitement of you about what you're doing and where you're going is what's the easiest way to do it. Do you have a specific, second question, do you have a specific onboarding process for new agents? I had another question in here. It was further down, but it says, how do you get someone to get their license to the first day of running appointments? I think both of those are kind of like the same question. So I'll kind of answer them together, but the process is already in place. I mean, to get licensed, you need to get them in insurance school. Get with one of the testing companies. We use Excel testing. You can have, they have a very simple process to get someone in there. It's when I talk to someone new, it's just required. It's required for you to come aboard and be able to sell insurance. It's So we have to get you in school, and I want to get you through school as fast as possible. I tell someone that they can get through that class in 5 to 10 hours. It's just how fast you want to get through it. And then in Florida, you have to get fingerprinted, and then you have to pass the state exam. Pretty much all states are similar. And through that process, how fast you want to get through it. I was like, super fast people do it in a couple days. How good are you, or how fast do you think you can get it? I kind of challenge them to see if they can be one of the fast people to get through the process. Once they go through and get their licensing, you just get them in the contracting through the contracting page of the Alliance. Robbie and them have made it super simple to fill out the contracts to get through there once they have their insurance license. Once they're in the system, we start doing the trainings. We just use NA University Get Started Quickly videos to really get out there and then get some leads in their hands and get calling. I find, and for me, spending too much time, and I've done this in the past where I'm like, I have a phone script training, I have an in-home presentation training, I have like all this stuff, it really just slows down the process. And it's all there on NA University. You just have them go through the class. Now, when they get done with NA University, are they an expert? Are they going to be a top producer ever? No, but the greatness of me or anybody else trying to retrain what they have on the videos isn't going to make them great either. So it's getting them to enough knowledge to where they can get out there and just start making phone calls and start making a mess. And when they start making a mess, that's when you start coming in and cleaning up and helping them really get successful when they start running the first day. It's really hard to train someone that's never touched, like if I was training you to play basketball, but you've never picked up a basketball, it's really hard to teach you how to dribble, how to shoot, how to pass, because you've never touched a basketball. You don't even know what I'm talking about. But once you get someone actually doing this stuff and you start making adjustments, it's so much easier. So I always want them to go out there and I always say get bloodied, and then we'll make corrections and do things. You can't. Go in your car and don't have it move and start turning the wheel and try to see how far you go and where you go. If the car's not moving, it's impossible to turn the car. So you try to get them moving, and then you need to turn the car to make adjustments to get it on the right path. But if they're not moving, it's not going to go anywhere. So you need to get them moving quickly. So the faster you can get them through class, the faster you can get them to watch those videos, and the faster you get leads in their hands, the faster the results are. And that's where the work starts. That's where you're going to spend time with new agents and really get them corrected and moving. Now, you're going to have some people say, my guy quit because they got hung up on they're going to quit anyways. They were going to quit anyways. Trust me, they're not going to. You're looking for the ones that want to move and go, and the faster they do it, it's the filtering process to really help you get successful with a new agent. So it's license, get them through class, get them fingerprinted, get them past their test, get them to watch NA University, get some leads in their hands. The faster you can execute those three things, the faster you can get them out there, and then the work starts. Then the work starts of getting them good. But that's going to find you the people that are willing to go out there and learn to do things that they want to do and get better at what they want to do. So, all right, what's the next one? What's your strategy? What's your go-to strategy for turning a maybe into a yes during the recruiting conversation? Okay. Anytime I'm talking to someone, if it's not a no, it's a yes. If it's, I want to think about it, yes, maybe, let me run it by my wife, let me run it by my husband. All those are yeses in my book. The only no I have is no. So any objection or anything they come back and say to me is a yes. Now, a maybe in my mind is less of a yes than a yes, but it's still a yes. It's just not, I'm not sure yet. I don't have the information I need. This was probably 5 or 6 years ago. We had a conference up in Burlington, and Andy had Dave Dorn, the NC State football coach there. And I got to have lunch with him, and we were having lunch up in the conference room in the corporate headquarters. And I remember asking him, I was like, when you're recruiting players, what are you doing to get them to come to NC State? Because they're looking at you, they're looking at North Carolina, they're looking at all these other schools similar to you. What are you doing to get them to commit to NC State? And what they do is they're really customizing the recruiting process for them. Back then, they had a really great defensive line. A bunch of the guys went into the NFL that were playing there. So they had a video that was like the Mount Rushmore of defensive linemen. And he's like, the crazy thing is, even though, like, I remember Bradley Chubbs was one of the guys, he plays for the Dolphins now. And Coach Dorn's like, the crazy thing is, I don't send that defensive line video to all the recruits that we're trying to get for wide receiver. So we have a video for our wide receivers, and it's the same thing with the Alliance. When you're trying to recruit somebody or bring someone aboard, you need to go through the through the Alliance YouTube page and watch those videos and get an idea of what each one is. And look at them as videos that you can forward to people to help recruit or help make decisions in your business. So a maybe to me is a yes, but it's like I need to give them more to get a commitment, get them a commitment to come aboard with us. So I'm looking through those videos and I'm forwarding videos that I think is beneficial to that person when I got to know that person. So if they're in the military, I'm going to send them the military videos. That we have a bunch of them in there. If they're a single mom, I'm finding a video by a single mom, like a Megan Wood, talking about what she's doing in the business. So I'm finding different people that they can relate to and show success to change that maybe to a yes. I'm giving them the information, but I'm feeding the information from the NA YouTube page, the Alliance YouTube page, to really help recruit them, like Dave Dorn does with his athletes that he's trying to get to go to NC State. It's feeding them the stuff they need to see and they hear to help them make that commitment. So a maybe to me is a yes, and that's really when I go to work, and I go to work to helping them make those decisions. And you got to follow up. It's not just send them a video and then they're going to call me back and hopefully they choose to come work with us. I can tell you, Dave Dorn doesn't send a video to the wide receivers and be like, hey, if you feel like coming to NC State, give us a call. We'll talk about it. They are following up. They're sending more videos. They're sending more information. There's so much information that Tia and her team puts out there that's available for us to help recruit people to come aboard with us. Take advantage of it. It's all free. It's all there. Just you have to know what's there. And I'm telling you where it's at. You just got to go. And then you say, what videos? Watch them. Watch them and then send them to people similar to those people that you're recruiting to really help move them along in the process. All right. How do you identify someone will be a good fit to your team before investing time into them? This is an easy question. If they're doing the stuff I tell them to do, I'm investing time into them. If they can't do something that I tell them to do, I don't move on to the next thing. So there's really no more time for me to invest with you. So if I'm with you and I'm like, hey, you should watch this activity call. It's at 10 a.m. on Friday. You should really watch this call. And then afterwards, let's talk about it and get going from there. And then you call them at 11 o'clock after the call today. And they're like, oh, I wasn't on it. I'll be like, no big deal. It's actually it was recorded. I'm going to send it to you. When do you think you'll be able to watch it? It's an hour long. When are you going to be able to watch it when I send it to you? And they're like, I'll have it done by 2 o'clock. Then I call them back at 2 o'clock and they haven't watched it again. They're just doing a path of things that they don't do what they say they're going to do. And there's only so many times I'm okay with that I'm going to keep falling down that road of being let down by them letting themselves down. So people that do what they say they're going to do, I invest very heavily into. People that can't do what they say they're going to do, they lose my interest quickly. Now, once they start doing things that they say they're going to do, it got my interest right back again. Like, it's instant. It's like, hey, I got on that call and I was like, holy cow, they did something on their own without me having to tell them to do it. Now I'm interested again. So I'm not killing them. They're not dead to me. It's just they're dead to me at that moment. And we keep sending them stuff, but it's when they start actually following the path of doing things that they say they're going to do, those are the people I invest in. So the people that say they're going to do, and it doesn't have to be, I'm going to recruit 100 people this week. It could be, I'm going to make 50 dials. Okay. And they do 50 dials. Okay. They do what they say they're going to do. Those are the people I really invest time into. And then two is when you start working with people that, if you start working with people that it's the biggest headache in the world if you invest in people that don't do what they say they're going to do, because and then if you continue to do it, you're the dumb one, because you're falling down their path. Just be smart of saying, okay. And then I agree, people can change. It's just rare. But when they change, you're watching closely, but I'm not investing time until they do change, until they start doing what they say they're going to do. And here's another thing. When you give someone something to do and they don't do it, don't give them something else to do. Wait for them to do the thing they said they were going to do. There's really no reason to give them something else until they complete the first task. Once they complete that first task, they're like, even if it took 2 weeks longer than you thought, at least they completed that. Then you can give them something else to do. Just keep loading more stuff on or trying to change stuff up doesn't work. Get them to finish the stuff they say they're going to do. What are some common red flags to look for when interviewing a new agent? Oh, my favorite red flag is when they start blaming people for why they're not where they think they should be. The second they start blaming and being like, I had this happen to me, and it's all this person's fault, and they take no ownership into what they believe in or what they're doing, I lose interest quickly. So, and the reason for that is I know I'm about to be the next person they're going to blame for all their failures. I'm not looking to be the next person in the line of their reasons for blaming other people. I'm looking for people that want to go out there and really change things and do things. Now, if they haven't had success or had a mentor to walk them through that, that's good to me, because it's like I'll teach them how to get past stuff. But people that can't get past just blaming and coming up with excuses all the time, I just don't want to be the next bad thing that happens in their life. Andy always talks about, he's like, if they have like 10 things, this happened, all negative stuff, boom, 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 boom. It's almost like I don't want to be the next person in line of your string of bad luck. You know what I mean? I'm not looking to be in that string of bad luck. And you just don't have the ability to just like, you're healed and they change. So you're looking for people that are doing right practices, willing to do things to change, willing to have success. Because when I met Andy and when I saw Fitz on stage and kind of the things that it was me that I felt for the first time in my life, I had a chance. I had a chance to get free. I had a chance to make a lot of money. I had a chance to do it, and which ended up being true, which I love about it. But if someone's just blaming why they're in a situation and they can't do anything and it's bad, so that is my number one red flag, is if they're blaming and not willing to make, if it's everyone else's fault to where they're at. You know what I mean? I wasn't in the situation I wanted to be in when I found the Alliance. But when I saw the opportunity and it gave me the chance to get to where I wanted to be, I went after it. If the red flags, the blaming stuff, those people don't go after stuff. They're just blaming because it's not easy or it's not given to them. So that's my biggest red flag that I look for. All right. What's the biggest recruiting mistake you see agents make, and how can it be avoided? Oh, I think I already hit this one earlier. It is not putting in enough activity. The lack of activity of finding people and talking to people is the biggest one. I watch agents go out there, they'll get 2 or 3 new agents, and then we always say they sit on them like mother hen and wait for them to hatch. That doesn't work. If you're trying to build a big business in this, it's getting out there and talking to a bunch of people, and it's finding the good ones out of the masses. It's finding the people that actually want to have success or chase something. And you're like, I only want to hire good people. I do too. I'm in agreement with that. But if you're constantly always just looking for the good, perfect mold of a person, and that's all you're ever looking for, and you're just never going to find it. You're going through a bunch of people to find that one person, find that great person. And it's going through the mass and putting in the activity to do it. Knowing how to put in an activity and find a bunch of recruits or do so. It's crazy. I mean, I'm currently, there's a ton of contests going on right now that Andy's running. It. If you want to see them, they're all on the ARC for recruiting stuff. And I'm getting beat in them right now, but I don't like getting beat in anything. So, I mean, just to show you like the activity of people I'm talking to today, this is my schedule today. And all these are interviews of people to do it. Now, Are they all perfect? No. Are they all great? No. But I'll find 2 or 3 good ones in there, and it's going through the numbers to do so. And or I could just put the perfect ad out there, wait for the perfect person to answer, and you're just going to be waiting forever. And it's just not going to happen. It's putting in those numbers. It's like when Jason Mathis found Terry Edwards, it wasn't the perfect ad or whatever. Jason probably talked to 100 people that week and found one good one in Terry Edwards. You know, it's through those numbers. But it's changed. It's when I was going to Tampa for 7 weeks. Well, I went forever. I still go to Tampa all the time. But when I first started going, it was talking to 70 people a week, and none of them and then I found some good ones. Now, I may have screwed up the good ones early on because I had to grow, but still, it's going through the numbers to find the good ones that are going to work with you and stuff. But it's through the mass. That's the biggest mistake I see when people recruit. Is just thinking they have that perfect recruit, that one person, that 2 people, and they think they're going to build a big business off of that. Even if you find a great individual in one person, and that's all you do, they're going to pass you. They're going to blow up your business, and it's you need to find more of them. You need to find as many of them as you can. So you got to put in numbers to do so. How do you handle objections when a recruit seems interested but hesitant to commit? I think it's going to go back to where I was talking about the YouTube page and sending stuff to recruit people to come aboard. I think it's similar. But I want them to see things that they do. Now, if they're in an area where we have meetings and hotspots, I want them to meet the team. I want them to get around stuff. I use the conferences as well, like national conventions coming up in Dallas, Texas. I'll be like, hey, you're coming aboard at the absolute best time. We have our national convention. We only do it once a year where we do an awards, and you get to see. And we bring everyone we're bringing everyone into Dallas, Texas. And you can... in that one weekend, you're going to learn more about our company, and you're going to be able to make a educated decision and stuff. I'm trying to get them around the team as much as I can and get them around what to see. When I went to my first conference, maybe it was luck, maybe it was, I don't know what it is, but when I went to my first conference, I only went because John Maxwell was speaking at it. And I was like, I'd like to meet him. So I went to it. But it was I don't even remember what he said. I remember he was physically there, but I don't remember anything John Maxwell said. I remember seeing Fitz and being like, I'm like him. I remember seeing Andy's energy and being like, I can do what he's doing. He's no different than me. I saw the conference center, the lights, the music. I was like, this is actually a real company. That's where I made my decision to do this business. At the conference, I was like, holy crap, this is actually a real company. This is where I want to be. This is where I want to go. And making people to do that. Now, getting someone to go that you just met today to Dallas may be the hardest thing, but get them on one of the TWCs. Fitz and Avian did an amazing TWC on Wednesday. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it on the YouTube page, and you can watch but get them around the team, get them around the people of the Alliance through the calls like this, through hotspots that you have going all across the country. There's a really good book. It's called Purpose Driven Church, and it talks about how to build a mega church. And if you read that book, just every time it says church, just say the Alliance. It's the exact same way, but it starts with small meetings in your living room. Then it go into a bigger meeting. Then it's a bigger meeting. And it's bigger. Next thing you know, it's a mega church. But it's building that, and it's the same way with building this business. Get them around stuff, but make it easy, simple, and then the next thing, the next meeting. That's really the best way to get people to commit that are hesitant, because they're starting to see more. The worst thing is when they say, I'm going to Google and do research. And I don't care if they Google and research it, but that's not us. They're not learning who we are through Google. You need to get them around who we are and actually see who the real us is. I mean, can be so many different things out there. How long do you reach out? Oh, I just got a couple more questions. I'll fly through these real quick, and then I'll get to these ones that T just sent me. But what are the key traits do you prioritize in evaluating a new recruit? That is super easy. This is the book, Millionaire Maker Manual, and there is a section in here that talks about Alliance Aiden and Alice. Those are the key traits. Those are the 12 traits that you want to judge and score somebody off of inside of this book. And you just want So it's on this version I have version the 5th edition, and it's on page 114 and 115. This is the key traits. And it's not the pictures of these people, it's the questions around them. These are the traits that you want to be measuring to when you are evaluating a potential recruit. Now, you're going to bring aboard everyone, and regardless of the score, because it doesn't really matter. But these are the traits that you find success in, the people that move quickly and do really well off the bat. And you're just looking for the highest score you can get. You know what I mean? And you're just going through it. Has the person been educated by someone, somewhere, somehow? It doesn't mean did they go to college. It's like the military, they're educated there. Have they have mentors in their life that they listen to? If they've never gone to college, they've never had a mentor, they've never had a leadership to help them go somewhere, and then you bring them aboard, and they've always been like, no, I do everything on my own. I figure things out on my, and then you start trying to lead them and coach them. Guess what? They're not going to listen to you. They don't even know how to. They haven't developed that skill to be coached, or that skill to be in somewhere that they want to be educated. So, and then you're going to come to me and say, I would be like, where have they been educated? Somewhere, somehow, by someone. And you're like, they've never done it anywhere. Oh, but you think you can educate them now. You're the savior. No, it doesn't work that way. You need people that have this stuff. And you just go through these questions. So these are the questions that really evaluate of kind of where to work and the traits that I'm looking for in people to really spend a lot of time with and do stuff. So how to build a strong recruiting pipeline and keep it full. The easiest answer to how to build a recruiting pipeline is just don't stop. It's the same thing as in sales. If you turn off your leads that come in every single week in sales, all of a sudden it takes no time to drain that pipeline. If you're just like, I got so many, I'm going to stop them for a couple weeks and just work these ones I got. And then next thing you know, you have no leads and you're like, oh my God, my numbers are going down. I have no fresh leads. Recruiting pipeline with if you're building a business, you're always recruiting somebody. You're always trying to find better players. You're trying to find better agents. You're trying to do, going back to Dave Dorn at NC State football team, he's always trying to, no matter who their best player is on the team, he's trying to find someone better than them today. Like he's trying to replace that person today. He's trying to find someone better. So you always need to have continuous recruits coming in, or your business is going to die. If you don't continue, your lifeblood of your business is going to be new agents. The new agents are going to motivate your old ones and be the lifeblood of continuing your business going forward. So you're always recruiting. You never stop. If you hang around Andy even today, you go to dinner with him, he's recruiting all the time. He never stops. So it's a great example. What are the good qualities you look for? That's the one I just did with these, the one that's Aiden and Alice. All right. How do you hold a recruit accountable without losing them? That's a great question. If people didn't like being, it's the same thing though, in what I just said, like if they haven't been accountable for before, it's hard to get them to be accountable now. But some ways that I do it is, I think a lot of people go with goals and think they're going to be accountable to goals. A lot of people are okay with disappointing themselves, but not disappointing other people. So they'll let themselves down in a second, but they won't want to let a team down or different things. So goals are great, but what I like to do when I get goals is, because I know people are okay with letting themselves down, is when they get a goal. Goals are a lot of times like what I call appearance based. Like, I'm going to put out this big goal just so everyone's like, oh, that's great, and get the pats on the back even before you achieve them. They're just doing it for appearance and talk. But to get people with accountability and move forward, instead of having just their goals, or even if they have goals are great. I'm not saying not to have them, but that can't be the basis of trying to get someone to be accountable. Like, be accountable to your goals. Be accountable. They're not accountable to goals. You need to get them committed and get committed to their commitments to hit their goals. So if I was on NA University and I wanted to make like $2,000 a week, and my goal was to make $100,000 this year, which is going to take $2,000 every single week, it's like, what are they doing this week to be committed to that? So are they committed to making the dials that the sheets, I think it's 200 dials they have to make every single week? Are they committed to that activity? Are they committed to running the appointments they have to do? Is it in their schedule? Is it something that you're helping them to it? You want to get them really get them away from the goal. The goal's still there, but get them committed to the commitments to get to the goal. The commitments is where they're going to go, and that's where the accountability falls in, to help lead them to the goal. So I was listening to something the other day, and they're talking about NFL players, and they're coaching an NFL team, and they're like, you all have your goals, but what commitments are you making to help you get to those goals today? And get them committed to the commitments. The commitments to lead them to that is where it's going to help with the accountability, because the accountability isn't the goal. The accountability is the commitments to get to the goal, to do that. All right, this is a fun one. How do you hire staff fast, and how do you know when to fire them? All right, so I'm a big believer when you find someone good, regardless if you're hiring staff or not, and you think they'd be great on your staff, you hire them and you find a position for them. Good people will always make you money. And you find them all over the place. So it's kind of like if you see someone sharp and you think they'd be good for your business or good for your staff, I would hire them and just find a spot for them. And you'd be like, I don't know, I'm going to pay them. If they're good, they're going to make you money, so you don't have to worry about paying them, because they're going to make you more money than you're going to have to pay them. But how do you know what good staff? Like, I was with Andy 2 weeks ago at an NC State football game when we tailgated and went to the game, then came back and hung out at the tailgate for a little bit. And he had I don't know if he hired him or not, but there was a kid there that he was considering hiring. And he was telling me, he's like, I invest so much in this guy that I'm considering hiring to get to know him as a person, not just the resume, not I want to know him, and there's another guy I follow a lot and listen to him. He's like, he'll start running errands. Like, he'll go to the grocery store with the new hire, and the person he's considering hire, see if they put the grocery cart away or if they just leave it in the parking lot. So you're always looking to know the person, and the faster you get to know them and see if it's a good person you want to bring aboard your team, you hire them. I'm a big believer, you hire fast, you fire fast, but you got to be careful with the firing fast while you're firing fast. It's not just, oh, they screwed up, I'm firing them, or they did this. Because if you're always just basing it off, you want to, if you learn quickly that they're the wrong character, they're not the type of person you want in your office, that's when I fire fast. If they're just making mistakes, that's not why I fire them. They can make mistakes, and I just have to coach. They just have to get better and not continue to make them. But if they're willing to do it, because if you fire someone for mistakes-driven stuff, and it's just they made a mistake or this, and you go hire someone else, now you have to relive all those mistakes again with a new person. So you got to get someone mistake stuff's not a real reason I fire too fast, because when you rehire, you're gonna most likely the new person is gonna make the exact same mistakes. So you're just constantly rehiring for someone making the exact same mistake. You got to coach them through it and get it through it. But if it's when their character is not right, and I made a mistake on the character, that's when I would fire fast. So let's see. When dealing with an agency owner and you believe something to be true, if in fact it's not, how do you help them see the difference of a true, deeper reality? Oh, this makes me think of when I think of things that are true and I call Andy and I'm wrong. So I remember having a conversation years ago with Andy, and he told me something. He's like, if you have to experience every single thing that's not good, you're never going to get successful. Meaning, like, well, Andy, I learned from mistakes. That's how I learn. That's how. And he's like, if you can't learn from my mistakes or Fitz's mistakes and other people's mistakes, getting successful is going to take so long. You're just not going to be around long enough to do it. It's going to take you out. You need to get to where you can learn from other people's mistakes. And I remember having that conversation with him. And then in the same conversation, he goes, what's going to take you out of this business is when you are 100% certain that you are right. When you are 100% certain this is right, I'm going to fight Andy to the death on this. I'm telling you, he's wrong, I'm right, I'm 100% certain. He goes, what's going to take you out of the business is when you're 100% mentally convinced that you're right and you're wrong. And you don't look into something deeper. So when I'm dealing with some of my agency owners and some of the guys that are 100% convinced, I try to use stories to try to help sway them in a different direction, because that 100% convinced that you're right on something and ended up being wrong is what can take you out of business. It's the toughest thing, and it's knowing to do things. And Andy's always been great with me of sharing stories and things that lead to changing my opinion of what I'm convinced I'm 100% right on. So sharing stories, the same way as you sell inside the house, story sells. And stories are going to help sell someone to do that. Now, if they're still convinced and they're still going to do it, people are going to do what they're going to do. I'll watch there and be like, hey, just watch out for this, but I'm here for you if it doesn't work out. Because the communication of being there with somebody, even when something bad goes wrong, is probably the best thing to help them through it. And if it works, great. I mean, I want it to work, but usually it doesn't when they're doing something that you know is wrong, and the reason you would know it's wrong is because you've done it or you've witnessed it being done and it doesn't work. So, all right, the one more question here is, how does AR, meaning me, decide how much time, money to put into a new recruit? If you want time, money, and effort from me, if they're doing the things that they say they're going to do, they get a ton of time, money, and effort from me. If they're not doing the things they say they're going to do, they get very, very little. So I'm just looking for more people that can do what they say they're going to do, and regardless of what it is, that's okay. And here's the thing: I know stuff comes up. So if I was telling Brian Rojas, hey, you're going to do this today, right? And then he comes up and he's like, hey, Crystalline went into labor. I didn't get this done today, but I'll get it done tomorrow. The communication's important to me. Communicating like why you're going to have to put it off, because I know life's going to happen. It's when they ghost you and don't tell you and then come back 2 weeks later and say, hey, this came up. It's like, I didn't have time to text you. And I'm like, that's weird. I've had stuff come up before too, and I've always had my phone in my hand. It takes like 3 seconds to send a text message. No, I didn't even have 3 seconds. Yeah, okay. So the next time something minor comes up, they don't have 3 seconds to let you, and they waste your time. So I'm looking for the people that do what they say they're going to do, and when they can't do it, they communicate it before to let you know. Those people I'll go to war with. Those people I go to bat with, because I can do something with that. The people that disappear, you can't do much with. So very tough to for me to handle with those people that can't do what they say they're going to do. So, all right, couple more. How long do you reach out to a potential prospect? Andy's the king at this. And when I watch him, he'll send a text message. Hey, man, I was just thinking about you. And I was like, who is that? And he's like, some guy I talked about the business to 5 years ago that just came into my mind, so I saw him a text. You don't want to flood them if they're not ready right now, but you want to stay in touch. Like, I always think of like the top, like the aces that we've hired in this business in my organization, the guys that I think I would want 100 of, and we're looking for 100 of them. But it's like, let's be real here. Terry Edwards is with us because something very bad happened in his life. He moved his whole family to Atlanta for a dream job of his, and when he got there, they rescinded the offer. That's why he was on Craigslist. If they don't rescind that offer, he's never on Craigslist. So when I watch Andy follow up with people, a lot of times really sharp people, they like the idea of what we do, but they have something else. They're super busy. They don't have time to do something or build it. If something really bad happens to them, Andy wants to be the first person on their mind that they reach out to. So they're looking for different avenues to he's staying top of mind, staying on their mind. So when something does happen, they're like, you know what? I don't know how to deal with this. I remember talking to Andy Albright. Let me shoot out to him, see if I can still do that insurance stuff with him, or see if I can still do this. And then he's right there. So he's always, you want to stay on their mind or stay there with them. There's a lot of tools out there. You can do drip campaigns and things. Early on, you hit them a lot. As they lose interest, it's every once in a while that you hit out to them. One thing I do in my organization, we track people that have written business but haven't written this month. I always reach out to them because I've already hired and trained those people to see if there's anything I can help them do. Some people are receptive. Some people don't want to talk to me either. But it's always you're always you want to stay there because something else is going to come up, especially the sharp people. When something happens, you want to be the one there. You want to be the one they go to. So I wouldn't say I ever really stop. It's just especially the sharp ones I like a lot. I never really stop, but I try to do a least amount of not being annoying, but staying in their thoughts. And when something does happen, I want to jump in and do so. Have you had better success with licensed or non-licensed recruits? I've had better success with non-licensed. It's harder. You have to go through more of them because there's another step. They have to get a license to do our business. And I right now, like when I showed you guys my calendar, I've been doing those interviews that I've been doing like that for the last 2 weeks. 95% of the people I've been talking to are non-licensed recently. And the conversations I find so much better because it's people that want change, want something in their life, want something different than what they're currently doing. And I can be that change. A lot of the conversations I have makes me feel like when I found the business, I wanted something different in my life. I wanted a change in my life. I wanted an opportunity. And when I'm talking to non-licensed people, I'm getting a lot more of those conversations where they want to change, they want something more in their life, and we have the ability to do it. When you talk to licensed people, let's just be real, what the Alliance has and what some other company has are very similar. When you look at them from what they do, they sell insurance. Leads, there's lead companies out there, they have carriers. You're getting what's the comp level? What's that? What looking easier than what they're currently doing. Now, I think the Alliance is a million times better than all of our competitors or all the companies out there because of the alliance of people that we have. But that's very hard to convince someone of a new that's in the industry. It's hard to get them to come to a meeting. It's hard to get them to meet an Alex Avian. It's hard to get them to meet a Fitz because they know everything. They know everything. I don't need to go to that. I know everything. I'm the genius insurance guy making no money. And you're constantly having those conversations and doing things. Now, a new person that sees an opportunity and a chance to change it, it's easier to get them to go to stuff and get around the people that is what the Alliance is. It's a network of amazing people that work together where the rising tide raises all boats. It's raising those boats, and getting them around that is the key. And I've found much better success with non-licensed people to get them around the team than having those annoying conversations with people that have been in the industry, want to tell me how it works and it hasn't been successful for them, but it's just because of this. They're the complainers. So I've had much better success with non-licensed people. And I just find the conversations are better. I actually enjoy them more. Now, it is a slower process, so you need to put in mass volume of going through them because they will fall off going through class. They'll fall off there. It's going through those things, but the more you talk to, the better it is. For me, I've always liked it better. What's the best way to approach people when they already are selling insurance with a different IMO? It kind of goes back to that last question I think I just said I think I kind of answered it. It's the secret of the Alliance is the Alliance. It's the people of the Alliance. So the better you can get them around the people and sell them on the people of the Alliance of what we have. No other IMO has what we have in that, the people. They don't work together. They don't hang out together. They don't travel together. They don't do fun stuff. That's what we got. I mean, IMOs are IMOs. They're all very similar. They all copied Andy. When I started 17 years ago, none of them knew how to do what he does, and now they all have carriers. They all know how to do some kinds of leads system. They all have training. Like they all have but what they don't have is the group of people that work together, the people that built bonds together, because they don't go to Cabo San Lucas or do once in a lifetime trips together every single year where you build friendships. They don't have the bonds to where when we travel and do hotspots together, it's like just going to another locker room that we hang out with each other. They don't have those things. So the faster you can sell that to somebody from another IMO, the better. It's just hard because they usually know what the heck they think that. It goes back to one of those questions a minute ago. the agency owner one that's 100% convinced. They're convinced they know every IMOs and they know what's different about you. And you start telling, and they're like, that's not, you got to show them that. It's not something that you can really just tell them. You can tell them about it, but they don't believe it. And then when they see it, they're like, huh, it is different. I want to get them to see that. You got to get people to feel the difference. If I'm going to be in Tampa on Thursday, this coming Thursday, and that hot spot, when you get someone there, it needs to feel different than somewhere else's. And it's because there's a family of people there that get together and help each other out. And you have it all across the country. There's a ton of them. If you go on in the ARC and go down on the homepage, go down to Alliance Hotspots, they're all listed across the country to where you can get your people around there. I mean, Adam Katz, Mike Leventovich, and Brandon Manley are doing a boot camp at the headquarters. Get them to that if they're in that area. That feeling they're going to have, and especially being at the corporate office, they're going to have it. Andy Albright's going to be in Las Vegas on the 15th. Mike Morisi is going to be in Plainfield, Illinois on the 16th. Gina Hawks is going to be in California with Shayla Osuna on the 18th. Spencer Albright's going to be in Austin, Texas on the 18th. Joe Duke, Stephen Davies, Jake Joseph, Mike and Noah Leventovich are all in Salt Lake City on the 18th. I mean, these are the things that you want to be looking at. The only way to get someone is when they feel that. When they feel the differences. Here's the thing, Joe Dukes, Jake Joseph, Mike and Noel, they're all on Mike and Noel's team. That's their hierarchy. But Stephen Davies there too. And it's kind of like when you go there and you see how they're friends and how they hang out and how they love each other and how they want to help each other, it's strange to someone coming from another IMO. They're like, that wasn't like at the last place I was at, they're trying to stab each other in the back. Here, they actually like each other and help each other out. That's going to be your difference. That's how you convince someone to come from one IMO to another one. Marcus Richardson's on the 19th has got a meeting in Denver with Gina Hawks. There's a ton of them listed out. Robbie Kraft, Leventovich, Stephen Davies, and a bunch of them are going to be in Dallas. Get them around there. That's how you sell someone from another IMO to the differences. If you're just saying, our leads are better, our carriers are better, they're not buying it, and because they all have the same. It's that's what you're selling. You're selling the alliance difference. That's the alliance difference. What script do you use to talk to new recruits? I don't have a script. I just talk to people. I think it's a skill that you need to develop to learn how to communicate with individuals, and read books on it. There's a book, there's books on John Maxwell has one, Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. That's a great book. How to Win Friends and Influence People is a great book. Power and Confidence with People is a great book to build up how to actually communicate with people. If you're doing a script to talk to new recruits, I think they're going to know it's a script. I want to find out about them and what they want. And that's when, like what I was talking about with the non-licensed recruits, it's easier for me to get to talking to somebody. I was talking to a guy the other day that's a forklift driver, and I went right to about Jeremico, and I was like, don't you guys call it a high-low operator? And he's like, that's what they call it up north. He goes, down south, they don't call it that. They call it a forklift driver. I didn't know it changed by region, but it's having the conversations. And he's like, I'm just sick and tired of working in a factory. I want to get out of there. I want more for my family. And then it's like, oh, what more do you want for your family? When he gives me a door, I'm opening it. And I want to find that out. I want to find out the things that he wants in his life, the things that he wants to do. So there's no script to that. The script is to take a moment and actually find out what that person wants to change in their lives and do it, and help them, show them how to do it, how to have success here in achieving that. So I guess if there was a script, my script would be where to go once they open the door. Be looking for the doors they're going to open for you and the things they're going to say. Be listening to what they say. And that's my script, getting them to open up, to give me a door to open, to get into their life and actually see where I can make change inside their life and do different things. I hope that helps, but there's not really a script. I'm sure there's one out there. I'm sure someone's sat there and typed it up, or I could ask ChatGPT, what's a great script to recruiting someone into the insurance business, and it would give me a great script. But I think the more you treat people like people and try to help them, the more the more likely is they come aboard with and want to work with you. And I think that's a huge part. Guys, it's been an honor. Definitely, if growing a big business with the Alliance is amazing, and it can be life changing. I recommend you to get around someone that does. Get around an Alex Abian, an Alex Fitzgerald, the Mike and Noah Leventovich, a Stephen Davies. They're just different. And when I say they're different, it's in a good way, because they've developed around an Andy Albright for years to get different. And it's caring about the people they want to help. So these hot spots that are out there, when you go to them, especially if you're with us, watch what they do and watch how they treat people. Watch how important it is, because they're really good at that, at changing and getting into people's lives and seeing how they can do stuff and how they can help, and knowing their strengths and working in their strengths to do so. So go through the hot spots, and when there's one in your area, especially when there's someone new that you haven't been around, get to know them, get to see them, get to know their heart. And that's really what this business is. As you grow a business, it's a lot of activity and it's a lot of helping people. And the people that have the biggest businesses, and it's always funny to me, because it's like, people like, I'm scared. They're scared because of their ego. They're scared of their ego. But they'll say like, well, he's just so important. And they think that person has a big ego. I'm telling you, the leaders of the Alliance have the smallest egos that I've ever been around, because it's amazing, because it's like, they're never, Fitz talked about it on the call on Wednesday, the 5 levels of leadership. They want to get higher levels of leadership with you, and status of who they are is the lowest form, and they understand that, and they're trying to get away from that position status as fast as they possibly can, to get to actually where they can have influence on people. So you're not going to hear them say, I'm a senior board member. I'm that. They don't do that stuff, because they know that's the lowest level of leadership. So you want to get around these guys and watch how they're doing it. Watch how they're talking. I've never been around Stephen Davies and I've ever heard him say, hey, I'm this level, you should listen to me. And because he's smart and he knows that's the lowest level of leadership that he's displaying. So get around them and watch them, how they build relationships, because they're trying to get to higher levels of leadership, that Fitz was talking about on Wednesday. Guys, that is my time. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for the questions. It made it a whole lot easier for me to talk for an hour instead of me just blurring out stuff and trying to figure out stuff. So again, thank you, Andy and Jane, for trusting me with doing the call today, and hope that helps. See you guys soon.